You've probably heard this word in movies before, but hopefully you will never have to hear it in real life, because it's only spoken in the most serious emergencies, when human lives are truly at risk. But why not say, "Help me," SOS, or some other word that seems easier to understand? So what does Mayday really mean? And where did it come from? To understand that, let's go back to the early days of radio communication. Back then, radio signals were often weak, distorted, full of static, and easy to lose. Sometimes you could hear them, sometimes you couldn't. At the same time, aviation and maritime operations crossed national borders. Pilots, ship captains, ground staff, and rescue teams could come from many different countries and speak many different languages. And do you know what mattered most? In an emergency, the problem was not just understanding each other. The problem was life or death. Because just 1 second of delay, one misheard sound, or one unclear signal could cause rescuers to respond too late, go in the wrong direction, or fail to realize that someone was calling for help. So the world needed one single signal: short, clear, easy to pronounce, easy to recognize through static and interference, and impossible to confuse with ordinary speech. And from that need, Mayday was born, a historic turning point in emergency communication terminology. Here's something interesting. Mayday may sound like International Workers' Day, and many people have misunderstood it that way. But no, Mayday actually comes from the French phrase Mayday, meaning help me or save me. The word began being used in 1923. At the time, Frederick Stanley Mockford, a radio officer at Croydon Airport in London, was assigned to find a distress signal that British pilots, British ground staff, and French personnel could all understand quickly in an emergency. Before that, SOS was already a widely used distress signal. SOS worked very well for Morse code, meaning dots and dashes. But when spoken by voice over radio, the letters could easily be misheard. At first, Mayday was used on flights between Britain and France. But as airplanes and ships began traveling more and more between countries, the world needed a common way to call for help, one that anyone could understand immediately. From that point on, Mayday became an international distress signal, a warning that, when heard, tells everyone one thing: someone is in real danger and needs to be rescued immediately. So how is Mayday used in a real emergency? Mayday is most often associated with aviation and maritime situations, especially emergencies that directly threaten lives, such as fires, collisions, loss of control, aircraft accidents, or ships at risk of sinking. In those moments, a pilot or ship captain does not just say Mayday once, they say it 3 times.
Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. This is joy, joy, joy.
That's right, the word must be repeated 3 times. And this is not for dramatic effect. The repetition helps make sure the message is not missed or confused with normal conversation. When the signal is heard, other radio users must clear the channel and give absolute priority to emergency communication. In chaotic moments, this structure matters, and this simple rule can save precious seconds. However, Mayday is not the only emergency term used in radio communication. There is also pan-pan. If Mayday is used for situations with an immediate threat to life, pan-pan is used for urgent situations that have not yet reached a life or death level. For example, a technical failure, a medical issue, getting lost, or a situation that could become dangerous if it's not handled in time. And as you might guess, pan-pan also comes from French, related to the word panne, meaning a breakdown or malfunction. The existence of both terms shows how carefully emergency communication systems were built. In life or death situations, language is not only used to deliver information, it also helps define priority. By clearly classifying the level of danger, rescue forces can respond faster, more accurately, and focus their resources on the cases that need attention first. But here is the interesting part. In the age of GPS, satellites, radar, and automatic emergency beacons, calling for help seems like something that should only require the push of a button. So why has a word created more than a century ago, like Mayday, still not been replaced? We all know modern technology can help identify location faster, send automatic signals more accurately, and help rescue teams respond more quickly. But in an emergency, no system is absolute. Batteries can run out, signals can be lost, devices can fail. And more importantly, an automatic signal cannot always explain what is happening, how serious the danger is, how many people are in trouble, or what kind of help they need. But a voice over the radio can still cut through the chaos and become one of the most reliable tools in an emergency. There is one more special detail. Civil aviation has a dedicated frequency for broadcasting a Mayday call, and that frequency is 121.5 MHz. It's an international VHF emergency and distress frequency monitored by aircraft and air traffic control towers. In addition, military aircraft often use the 243.0 MHz frequency as well. All of this is why Mayday is still used today. It crosses language barriers, cuts through confusion, and delivers a message that is understood worldwide. When that word is heard, the message is simple but urgent. Someone is in danger, and they need help immediately. So what happens if someone treats Mayday like a joke? In 2013 in North Carolina, a man made a fake Mayday call. Immediately, rescue boats, helicopters, police, and firefighters were deployed. They searched the area looking for the boat that was supposedly in distress and spent hours working, only to discover that there had been no accident at all. And the price of that joke was not small. The man was sentenced to 41 months in prison and ordered to repay nearly $19,000 in search costs. So, Mayday is not just a dramatic line from movies. It is a life or death signal, created to cut through noise, panic, language barriers, and the distance between nations. It is short, urgent, and almost impossible to misunderstand. Hopefully, you will never have to use this word in real life. Mayday! 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 Remember, it's not just a word. It's a call for help that the whole world has learned to listen for. At the right moment, it can mobilize an entire rescue system. And very possibly, that one word can save one life, or many. All right, if you still have questions about this topic, or if there are other familiar things that few people truly understand, comment the topic you want me to explain next. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Thank you.